I think there's a sign in right here. Yep. Yeah, that's for me.
Let's see here last year. The year before. Yeah.
From here. So, we're trying something new. We're recording.
Oh,
the camera's right here. So if you stand up, your head may be away. Like here would be fine.
Okay.
Maybe if you don't want the back of your head in the video.
No.
Just
What
maybe
about there?
The side of you will be in the there. That's fine. That's kind of like all view. So like here, you'd probably be out of camera.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, you guys, I think we're going to go ahead and get started. Come on in. You're welcome to sit in the back too, but there's games and bye. Bye. So I think we're going to go ahead and get started. It's a little after 7, and we try to both start and end these meetings on time. But considering this is our first meeting, we want to let a few more people filter in. You're fine. Welcome, everyone. This is the first PTA meeting of the year, which is super exciting. A little panic-inducing that it's already October. I don't know how that happened exactly, but here we are. I did want to let everyone know that we're trying something new this year. We are live streaming the meeting, so I think most of us in this kind of realm are on video. I'm not 100% sure who is online, but I just wanted to let you know. I think we'll start with just introductions. I want to introduce Sarah Mazursky. And this is the last time. My name is Sarah Mazursky. I have a 4th grader and a 1st grader at the school this year, and I'm serving as the PTA president. I'll have the rest of the board introduce themselves so you can put names with faces.
Sure, I'm Jessica O'Rourke. I am one of 2 vice presidents on the PTA, and my daughter Camila is in 2nd grade.
I'm Nick Sidney. I'm the other vice president.
I'm Gail Robach. I'm the secretary, and I've got kids in 2nd, 3rd grade. No, 3rd and 4th grade.
And I'm Anil Chandel. I have sons in 1st and 3rd grade.
He's our treasurer.
Yes.
So we're super excited that you're all here today. I think if I met some of you at the back to school day that we had this year, I think we really want to foster a big and growing and active PTA this year. So it's great that you're all here. We hope you will continue to come to our meetings, and more importantly than that, help with some of the activities that we sponsor. Our goal of the PTA is to really work closely with the teachers, the staff, and other parents, all for the ultimate goal of helping all of our kids. So, we want to make sure that we're fostering positive communication with both each other as parents, with the teachers, and with the staff. And I think the PTA meetings are a great place to meet some of the staff because we do have teachers and administration who come to these meetings, as well as to meet other parents who are part of the school. So it helps kind of foster that community that we are trying to have as we go here. We do have a few on your tables, some business to take care of, which is there should be notes from the May 2018 meeting at your tables. Does everyone have a couple of copies? As our first order of business, we need people to review those and ultimately approve them. So I'll give you a few minutes to just look them over. If you are new this year, don't worry about it. If you were at the last PTA meeting, it would be great if you let us know if you have any changes or corrections to make. Anyone have any corrections or additions to make? No? Can I get a motion to approve the minutes? Pete, thank you. And a second? Thank you. And can I get your name? Kimberly. Kimberly. All right.
Last name as well.
Sure. Kimberly. Thank you. All right. So one of the agenda items that is always on our PTA meeting is Dr. Gaines comes and gives us principal's report. So Dr. Gaines, I will turn it over to you.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Those people that I haven't had the pleasure of meeting, I'm Dr. Gaines, principal here at Greenville Elementary School. And so, first I'd like to thank my two colleagues. Mr. Richardson is one of our lead teachers, and Ms. Morrison, our music teachers, coming to the PTA meeting this evening. We do appreciate the teacher support as well. As Mr. Zersky said, the school year is off to a great start. I can't believe it's October either. Time is just going by pretty quickly. As far as things happening at school, we were very fortunate this year. Every year, teachers decide to do different things. We had some teachers that actually left the school district. We were able to find some great teachers to replace them. We always pride ourselves on not having to go to a job fair where it's pressure, quick turnaround to talk to someone. But the teachers do a great job at volunteering at the end of the year to interview candidates in case positions become available. So the teachers that did leave the school system let me know early about it. And so as they were making other arrangements to go to other school districts, we were able to bring in some really great candidates. So we're happy to have our team almost fully staffed. We're looking for a paraprofessional educator who we actually have interviews set up on Friday for that position. So we're looking for someone else to join the staff, as well as a nurse. We don't have a school nurse, but we don't hire the school nurses. That comes through health services. And so they are aware that we don't have a nurse. We do have a plan where the front office staff, the administrators, the secretaries are taking care of, medication that needs to be administered, or if there's bumps and bruises from recess. Luckily, we haven't had any major incidents, but our nurse manager comes by on a regular basis to kind of work with the immunizations and the records, and just to see if we have any questions or concerns. And so we're almost fully staffed. I guess we were a little nervous. Well, I was a little nervous at the beginning of the year because the county does a projection of how many students we're supposed to have each school year. How do you do this formula? I don't know. But last year for kindergarten, they projected us at like 95 students, and we ended up having like 132. And so after school started and all 132 students came, they're like, okay, well, you can hire another teacher. At that point, there were no teachers. And so that's when we decided to get the paraeducators to go into each classroom. So this year they projected us to have another 95 students attending kindergarten, and then kindergarten enrollment was very low. It started off with, by the end of the summer, August when school started, we only had like 70 kids registered. So I thought I was going to lose a teacher. The number has gone up to about 87 now. So the classes in kindergarten are, they're small. but I mean, small classes work for us. The only problem is that we did have an increase in fourth graders, and I think there's about 30 kids in the 4 classes there. And so, when the county looks at projections, everything kind of balances out. You know, when I meet with my staff, I think that there's a consensus that if we have to have bigger class sizes, that the staff agrees that it should be in 4th and 5th grade versus kindergarten and 1st grade. So right now, everything is manageable, everything is going well as far as class sizes are concerned. We had our back to school day on Saturday. I don't remember the date, but we had it. And there were lots of parents that came out. And it was really, the teachers felt like it was a great turnout. Sometimes back to school night, we don't capture all of our parents. I don't think we'll ever capture everyone on whatever day we decide to do it. The Saturday was a little, you know, it doesn't make for a very long day for teachers. Everyone was fresh, able to come in. We provided several different workshops for parents to give as much information as we could that day. I just want to make sure that, you know, one thing that we really stress about the school day and throughout the year is just a positive homeschool communication. And so I require the teachers to do a newsletter every Friday for every grade level. So if you're not receiving a newsletter, you really need to contact your child's teacher because they send it out every Friday. It talks about what's happening in the classroom for the upcoming week. It gives any and all the information that you need to know if there's any special events, any field trips, additional flyers that come to us that we need to disseminate come through this email. So if you're not receiving the email, you definitely want to talk to your child's teacher and make sure that they have your email address. In addition to the newsletter, we want to make sure that parents are using SchoolMax as another means of communication. SchoolMax, for those people that are new, is the teacher's gradebook online that parents have access to. So even as we are approaching progress report time, which is halfway through the first quarter, for me, I don't have to wait to get a progress report for my daughter to know how she's doing in school. You can check SchoolMax teachers have to update it by Sunday afternoons, so I usually check it every Monday. And so that's just an up-to-date, because when you get the progress report, the window closes this Wednesday, and so then we have to send them off to be printed, and so if there's a time lapse, so by the time you get to the progress report, it's like a 2-week lapse there, and it's really not accurate at that point because the kids have done so many other assignments. So SchoolMax is definitely a tool that you all want to be familiar with. We at Back to School Day, and we sent home in a newsletter, spirit wear shirts. If anyone's interested in getting Greenbelt spirit wear for their children, I think the deadline to order is this Friday. It's this Friday, October the 5th. And so the teachers like when there are field trips and things for kids, you know, to wear Greenbelt attire is easier to kind of manage and know everyone who's with you. And then when we have spirit days here at school. So something to think about if you're interested in getting spirit wear. I know that there was, I think Ms. Mazursky mentioned, some parents had questions about our fields in the back. And so the playground where the kids play, there's a large field out back. And for quite some time, we've had some concerns with when it rains, water just kind of stands still in the field. And so someone did come out back in March, and they said that they were going to try to figure out what they needed to do. I did get an update on that just this week. Because of the large amount of rain that we've had this last couple of weeks, the field is just soaking wet. And so I know that some parents were concerned because the kids aren't able to go on the field and they have to play on the blacktop. But when it's wet and the kids go on the field, they're muddy when they come back. Shoes ruined, clothes, we're having to call parents because, you know, some of the water or the mud they don't even see until you take a step, and then it's too late. And so to have parents to avoid having to call parents from work to kind of bring an extra set of clothes and things of that nature. The teachers have been making alternate plans and having the kids play on the blacktop area. The gentleman that came from the ground shop said that the holdup right now, what they have to do is really go out and clean the drainage system. He called it a swell. I don't really know what that is, but he had to clean the drainage system. And in order to do that, they need to bring this big machine that they have to take in the back. But because it's so wet, he said the machine would just make everything worse. So they really have to wait until it gets dry. So hopefully, I don't know the weather forecast, but hopefully it doesn't rain too much more where they can get it back there and clean. He said it would take them a couple days to clean all of the drainage system. And then they also mentioned that they would have to bring out some extra soil to kind of fill up in those areas where it's low and the water just seems to just sit there. And so there is a plan to get that done, and so hopefully it will be fixed properly so that the kids, don't have to miss a week of recess on the field because of rain. But with the unusual amounts of rain that we've had, it's been difficult for them to get out there. And I don't know, do you all have anything to add to say? Okay, well,
You covered it.
yeah.
So, along those lines, we get a little updates from our kids. I hear that on the blacktop, there's hula hoops, there's other things, but sometimes if 2 classes come out, the second class doesn't get as many toys or there's no toys left for them. Is there anything we can do? Do you guys need, like, I got lots of chalk at home, who wants some chalk to draw?
So those questions I would definitely talk to the teachers and see.
Okay. So
We do have recess equipment. It's updated at the beginning of the year. Mr. Van Freed works with the recess equipment. He doesn't give them everything we have, but he gives them things and then kind of spaces them out as things become damaged. So I would talk to the teachers about that.
I talked to the PE teachers about it. Okay, so if you need, I mean, PTA might be able to buy some jumpers. I had one other question.
What about the playground?
What about the playground? Are they using it?
So the playground area, I haven't heard any that they weren't using it. So yeah, I just know they're not using the field.
They're not just using it.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, so one thing that I would definitely encourage parents to do is if you have a concern about something, talk to the teacher because they're gonna have the answers. Honestly, I don't get to go outside for recess pretty much any day. And so I don't know if they're playing here or there. I just know things that, are communicated to me. So if there's a problem with the field, I know they're not playing on the field, but I will definitely talk to the teacher about that. So there's no problem. No, not that. Yeah.
We have some people chatting, and a question was about the spirit wear. How do they order that?
So contact the classroom teacher. The teacher sent the order forms out a couple weeks ago. So yeah. Or if they're here, they can come to the office and pick up a form. But they can have electronic copies.
I can also maybe post it on the PTA website and send it out. Send it out. Yeah, we can post it on the PTA website and send it out.
Okay, that'll work.
Again, about the playground and PE and stuff, recess specifically. Is there a policy at the school level about kids not getting because of recess, like if the class isn't quiet enough, so they lose 5 minutes of recess? Is there any kind of school-wide policy? Because I hear.
So there's an administrative procedure. We don't hold recess for any reason.
Really? I've heard from my children that they've gotten less and less recess. And
Okay. Well, I will say that we don't hold recess, so it's not, oh, you're not having recess today. But at the same time, if it's time to line up for recess, teachers are not taking kids running out, screaming out. So if it means that, let's get quiet so we can go through the hallways because other people are, then I can see that taking a couple minutes from recess. Without holding recess as a punishment.
So if there's no policy that, like, if you don't do, I mean, if you're hurting kids, you shouldn't be out there. If you're not quiet, I can understand, but there's no, it's like a holding lunch. You don't hold recess as a tool for, okay.
I think it's if it takes them 10 minutes to quiet down so
Then
they
they
can
lose
get
that
outside.
10 minutes,
then
yeah,
that's-
yeah. He was saying something about they had to write over and over, we will be quiet. I was like, "Ah."
This might actually be a good feed in to have other,
No, I don't have anything else unless someone has anything.
well, this is actually, I had wanted to hand this out. This should be on all of your tables. So again, kind of what Dr. Bean said and what I had said is we want to make sure that we have open and clear communication. And the main part of having open and clear communication is knowing who you're supposed to go to talk for certain things. This is a document that is on the Prince George's County Schools website, and it's something that our school follows. And it's actually a pretty good flow chart. I will say the only challenge is when it comes to, where is it? There's the narration. What's wrong on this one? Anyways, because we don't currently have, oh, right here, health and medical concerns, your first step is to go to the professional school nurse. Since we don't have one, I think administration is the go-to in this case. But this is a really good sort of handy step on if you have a concern about your child, what is the concern and who is the first person that you should go to? Almost always, for most of the concerns that come up at PTA meetings and that you hear in conversations with other parents, it tends to fall to the first person to contact is almost always the teacher, and that's kind of the, I would say, the default for almost everything is most concerns can be handled with talking to the teacher. And if you don't get the, a satisfactory answer the first time, keep talking to them. I think that's the whole point is, open and clear, consistent communication with the teachers. And then if you're still not getting an answer that you're comfortable with, just keep kind of moving up the chain. Dr. Gaines, Ms. Day, who is not here tonight, are very, very open and approachable. And I feel like somehow always respond to emails or phone calls and very, I don't know how you do it, but very quickly because they have all of us to deal with. So I would just ask you to refer to this when you are dealing with troubles because the staff and teachers here, they also want to solve these problems with you. They don't know about it, and if they're not getting the information firsthand, it makes it harder for them and it makes it harder for you. So,
and the kids are with the teachers the majority of the day, so it kind of just makes sense. If they're going to have more information, then we definitely will step in. But it takes us more investigating to talk to the teacher and find out and then relay the message, and we can just, go to them directly, give them the opportunity to solve the problem or answer the question.
And I can say from my own personal experience, I haven't had problems, but I've had things that I've questioned and I go to the teacher, and if the teacher can't give me the full answer, they've brought in the guidance counsel, they've brought in Dr. Gaines, so the teachers also know who to involve in the conversation depending on what the situation is. And I think, knowing that we're all here for the betterment of the kids and that we're all here for the same goal, the more consistently we communicate with the teachers, the better everyone's experience here will be. Okay. Any other questions on that?
Yes.
Yeah.
This is my first time with the PTO. How often do you have?
We have 5 meetings a year. Now you're going to test me because I didn't write this down. October, November, February, March, and May. First Tuesday of the month, except next month, which I'll talk about at the end. Next, in November, the first Tuesday is election day, so the school is not available because it's the polling place. So it'll be on the 13th, the next day, yeah, but we are going to talk about that. There's other things happening related to that meeting too. Yeah, and it's always from 7 to 8:30, unless we have to.
You mentioned something about the grass on the field being too long for them to play on, but I explained to him that the field is wet, so they're not supposed to be on the field anyway. Is that
Probably also a little bit hard to mold because it's
Right, so we
really kind of swamp back there.
And so the grass, that big field, our guys don't mow it. They have someone from the county come. So there's a regular schedule that they come. But when it's rain, once again, with all of this rain, they've just been off schedule. You can't cut it when it's wet.
So another quick sort of administrative thing that I wanted to draw your attention to is on each of the tables, there is a sign-in sheet. we would like everyone who is here to sign in. And in addition to that, because we will record all of the members, in addition to that, there are several ways that if you'd like to be more involved in PTA-sponsored activities, you can put a tick or a check next to your name and in each of those categories, and we will follow up with you. There's lots of ways to be involved in the PTA through the events that we sponsor throughout the year. And so if you are interested, we're always looking for more people. The other thing,
It's filled, so just look at your choices about I can help with on the front and then just write it
there's
on
more
the-
sheets around.
Oh, there are?
Yeah, there's
Then pass-
multiple. Yeah.
I think some people raise their hand, so if you can pass that.
If you can pass it around, that would be great. So the other thing is that I believe, I don't know if they're at the table, you should have membership forms. So as part of the PTA, hold one up so people can see what they look like. Karina's holding them up. This is what they look like. We are hoping that all of you will become a member of the PTA. It costs $10 to join. I believe $250 of that goes to the district PTA or the Maryland PTA, and the rest of it goes to support PTA activities. And that is $10 per person in your family. So if both people in your family or a grandparent would like to join, it's $10 per person. You don't have to do that to attend the meetings. However, when we get to the point of the year where we have to vote on the budget and officers for next year, you do need to be a paying PTA member to be able to vote on those things. But we don't want it to discourage participation in any way. But again, most of those funds do go back to helping support the school. So you can sign up today. We have a card reader if you need to. You can also do this online at the PTA's website at any point in the year. It doesn't need to be tonight. But that would be great. The PTA, our PTA website is linked to from the St. Rose Elementary School website as well.
So I'm paid with sending back to school.
Perfect. You're good. You're good. Yeah. We eventually will actually have cards to hand out to you. We just have not gotten them yet. Yeah. We don't have to see you. The door. All right. Another thing to talk about is I'm going to pass this around. So we want you to be involved, not just in the PTA, but we want you to be involved in the school. It's fun to see what the kids are doing. Field trips happen. The teachers are always needing help in the classrooms. Ms. Polson wants help with the science fair. Ingrid wants help with art projects that happen in the school. And this year, the way that you can volunteer has changed a little bit in terms of the background checks and the fingerprinting that needs to happen. So if I get this wrong, please correct me. So if you are going to volunteer in the school one time only, and there's going to be other teachers who are around. So for example, you want to volunteer to help judge the science fair. Ms. Polston and other teachers are there. You just need to do the background check, which is $50. If you would like to volunteer to chaperone field trips, or you would like to volunteer more than once at the school, please, you do need to do the background check. And I will say it's $61, which for me, was a little off-putting because I was like, oh, that's a lot of money. You just have to do it once while your child is in PG County schools. So that goes all the way through high school. So it is kind of a big upfront cost, but it takes you a long time. It takes a couple of weeks to get this done. There are several places where you can get it done. I remember when I did this a couple of years, I left work a little bit early. I was in and out in like 5 minutes, and then I got, the receipt that said I did it within a couple of weeks. It goes on file here at the school. Miss Sanders keeps all of those things, and then you're totally set. You don't really have to worry about it again. So I'm going to pass, sorry, Gary.
Oh, I just wanted to say that if you qualify for free or reduced lunch, there is a discount or something.
Oh, great. I didn't know that. Do you know where you found that?
Jackie told me.
Okay. I'm going to look into that because I think that's great. Is it on? Okay, because that's where I got this, but I didn't see that on there. So So I will look into that. I think in the notes, I'm gonna have Gail send out this form that has places where you can go and the descriptions of the two different background checks, I guess, fingerprinting and just the regular background check.
If you touch it with like fingerprints or background check professionally, is that anyway accessible? Only if you are.
Boy Scouts doesn't count. Girl Scouts doesn't count. No.
Government does not count.
Yeah, sadly, the government has a rule technically to protect you, that if your fingerprints have been done for one thing, they can't share that information with another part, so that's why it's do it separately.
So, you know, I think I'm bringing this up because I do want to encourage you to do this, because at some point in your child's career here, you're probably going to want to volunteer. And the lead time of, oh, there's a field trip that I want to go on in 2 weeks, and being able to get yourself to one of these places to get this done, it doesn't always line up. So just a heads up on it.
My experience was a little different in that I went to, when it was done here, it was in the spring, and there were a billion people. We got here like a half an hour early. We were number 4 in line for half an hour early. And I got the receipt right away. So it took a while because the people didn't show, like, took them a while to get going, like get all the equipment set up, but they were able to fingerprint on the premises and then gave me a receipt, and the next day I just brought that into the office. So I was responsible for bringing it to the office. But then I was good to go, like right away. So, but if you go to one of the schools, I think if you were describing going to like
I went to the main office.
Yeah, that's probably a little faster, but if you go to one of the schools that they go to periodically, show up super early and be ready to spend like 2 hours. It's a long wait in line.
So I don't know if we have any plans to do the fingerprinting here this year. Not that I know of that. Yeah.
So sometimes periodically, they will do it at different schools in the county, but I have to.
Okay. Yeah. So when we send this around, you can see the places that you can go to get it done. And if you hear of anything that's happening at a local school, we can send that out through our PTA communication channels.
No, I was echoing what she was mentioning, is that when you go down to the Thatcher building, then you get it immediately. But it takes a while. It's normally a pretty long line.
Yeah. And I think it seems like the hours, well, actually, some of these hours are like 5 to 7 p.m. So it's not always during business hours for those of you.
We didn't have to wait at all, but the process takes a while. So we walked right in.
Yeah, I think it depends on when you go.
A morning, like right before lunchtime.
Yeah. But never have to do it again.
But you never have to do it again. Yeah, exactly. Okay. So the other thing that I had wanted to bring up is, as part of the PTA meetings, we try to bring in speakers or address topics that are important to parents, us. And this year, there's 2 things that we're working on trying to bring to one of our PTA meetings, potentially as a side event. And the first one is internet safety, which seems a little crazy when you're thinking you may have a kindergartner or a first grader. But just with the way the world is working, I think the more information you can have, the earlier you can have it, the better. We have been in communication with a man who was recommended to us, it sounds like he has this great program, and he goes to middle school as well as high schools, but also does elementary school programs. The problem is it's a 2-hour program that he has, a presentation, and we were like, can you make it an hour? Can you shorten it down? And he's holding firm that it has to be 2 hours. I think it's 2. Yeah. So we are trying to figure out if we can talk him into somehow streamlining it to have it as part of this, and if not, potentially exploring it as hosting it sort of as a separate thing from a PTA meeting, because I think there's a lot of interest in this, and we might even see if maybe we can work with some of the other local elementary PTAs and host something kind of collaboratively for people. The other thing is that, I'm getting the name of that place in DC. Mary's Center. So a woman from Mary's Center contacted us about essentially community health services that are available to people in our community. And we thought that would be a great thing to offer as part of the PTA, but our biggest concern and or thing that we're kind of balancing is making sure that the right people are in the room when she comes to present, who would need to be able to or want to access those services. So we are continuing to talk with her and more to come on that. So those are kind of two ideas that we have right now, but I thought maybe I could just throw it open for a few minutes to see if there are other things that you all are interested in. Actually, one I forgot that was really popular last year was the
529.
Thank you, 529. I was going to say 401k. It's not a 401k presentation. The 529, so the school savings accounts that you can open for your kids, they have come and done presentations in the past that have been extremely helpful, and I've been to it twice and feel like I learned something each time. So that's another one that's on our radar this year. That would be part of a PTA. So maybe I'll stop talking, and if you guys have ideas or things that you want to hear about or learn about as part of the meetings or sort of as a side of the meetings.
At the back to school day, we went to one of the workshops that Mr. Courtney put on about the apps and websites, educational apps and websites. He had, I think he demoed about 15 of them in like 7 minutes. It's awesome, but he was talking about it. And then he had a handout that had about 20, and that was, you know, I was hoping to get something out of it, and I got a ton out of it. So maybe even just like a 20 to 25 minute slowed down version of what he did at back to school.
Was it for different subject matters?
Yep. Okay. Yes, he had it split up into reading and then math apps and ones that are free and ones that you have an annual subscription or monthly subscription or different grade level appropriate type stuff. So.
I'd be interested in some of the more social emotional topics like helping children manage difficult relationships. So my daughter's in 3rd grade and they're like in full on girl versus girls and the mean girls and the queen bees and the wannabes and all of that stuff. And I think that discussion is overloaded with those things. And if parents are able to have some of the same language, some of the same tools that are recognized in the school, so that we're having the same conversations at home and in school. I would be interested in even having that as like a parent breakfast before school one day. Since our school's a later start school, I thought it was genius that Mr. Robles was doing the things club before school. So like utilizing that early morning when a parent may be able to just go into work a little bit late one day instead of having to pick up a kid that's already cranky and then figure out childcare later on. And then also helping parents with understanding the advocacy process for their kids. So my kid is having a hard time in class, or my kid is being bullied, or maybe my kid is a bully. But I want to make sure that my kids' needs are met. What's the appropriate way for me to advocate? What is the appropriate language? Who are the appropriate people to talk to? I found that very helpful in the schools I was in.
Sarah, maybe I just toss out that maybe for the May meeting, as you all are thinking that far out, is that might be a good time to start to bring in a lot of the 5th grade parents as they do the transition up to the middle school.
Or even before.
Even before that, but yeah, definitely it's a timing thing, and you know, having a group that can go to the middle school PTA meeting is great, but also just knowing what to expect, because we definitely hit all our bumps and bruises, which it wasn't really bad, but it was still bumpy through there. Transportation shifts instead of walkers and bus riders and all that. So it might be something as you think towards the end of the year.
That's a great suggestion.
There's a question about school uniforms, if that has ever been considered at the school.
And so, I mean, I think I've heard about it once or twice, but I think it's a PTA decision. You have to get the whole parent body involved. You have to vote on it. There has to be a consensus. Like, I don't make that decision.
Okay.
So.
I didn't know that was a PTA thing. I learned something new today too. All right.
Will there be diversity and inclusion workshops, something like that, teaching our children cultural awareness?
That, I mean, that's not something that we've done in the past, but that's a great suggestion.
That's easy thing for parents too.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering, the two of you, I don't know if you guys both work in the school system, but these are great ideas. If you have suggestions for people that we can reach out to for some of these things, we would definitely welcome that. I mean, I will talk to Dr. Gaines about suggestions, and I'm sure Ms. Hudson has suggestions as well. But if you guys have suggestions of people who would be good speakers on these topics, we're all ears. All right. Any other ideas? Yes.
Something I've been always discussed here in reduction for the children. My son's a kindergartner and it's a little challenging for him. If there was a time to explain to them quiet space to calm your nerves, something like that, a way to step away. We work with that at home, but I don't know if that's an option here at school. But maybe if we could actually initiate a process and something to calm it down, because he has anxiety about the older children and fitting with the older children already. And, you know, we're talking about it, but that's one thing I was saying about diversity and inclusion. I want to be culturally aware and inclusive, and I think it would be good to share that with the parents, and maybe we would have broader representation here at the meetings.
Yeah, I think that's a great suggestion. I will also encourage you to reach out to Ms. Hudson because she has lots and lots of tools in her toolbox for that. I also had to deal with something similar when my child was in kindergarten, so she's a great first stop for your individual, but for a PTA, I think we can look into something for, you know, the wider population.
I won't monopolize this conversation, but on that note, I think that the joint stress management and mental health awareness for parents and children, there's a curriculum called Parent Cafe that it allows for parents to build relationships with one another, but it's focused on protective factors of family. And so having conversations about appropriate ways to show love in the home or the way that we communicate with families, and then families are able to build across culture to share the ways they do that. So bringing in something that's like a parent-led series that then children are benefiting from as adults. So children can then be receiving that from home, but also from the center in the school.
This is not your last chance to throw out ideas.
These are really nice
Just your
suggestions.
first chance, yeah.
Do they have like any type of mentoring?
Sorry?
Do they have any type of like mentoring with like the older kids or like some of the younger kids?
Oh, like in the school?
That might be helpful because like, you know, sometimes it would be nice for Alex to kind of, he has some older friends, but it would be nice to kind of have them gear up, like, you know, this is what you'll expect when you get to the next grade, or, you know, these are, sometimes they know like ways that some things maybe something that is common that kids experience, that another kid could just basically, you know, tell them about that. As a parent, I really don't necessarily know.
For what it's worth, I don't know if this would be an entry point, I really like that idea. At the school we previously attended, they had the older grades read to the younger grades. So the kindergartners and first graders were read to by the fourth and fifth graders. I provided a role model as well as a connection so that when you're out in the community, my kindergartner was like, oh, here's this fourth grader that I really like that she reads to me. And they'd be like, hi.
Great. Okay. So I will say, any of us on the PTA boards and also committee chairs, people that you see in this room today, you know, as ideas come up, share them, make sure that they, you know, land in our inboxes or in our ears in some way, and we will look to see, you know, what we can do this year.
Does the PTA have like a general email address that people can send questions?
Yes, it is greenbeltespta@gmail.com. Yes. Greenbelt ES Elementary Schools PTA@gmail.com. And actually, all of us on the PTA board have access to that email. We're all trying really hard to get used to checking it on a daily basis. So be patient with us. If you don't hear back from us within a day, we're trying to get into this week on that. Okay. So I am going to move into also a very common part of our PTA agenda meetings, which is our committee chair updates for some of the events that we have. And I'm going to turn it over to Becca. And I know Puri's not giving the report out, but Becca and Puri just did a Herculean effort in managing the Greenbelt Labor Day football. Have the floor and tell you what an amazing job that they did. But she's not going to dote on herself, so we're going to give her a minute. Would you mind coming up here, Becca, so that people who are watching, I'm also so excited that people are watching.
There's 14 people watching.
Are there more? That's awesome.
All right, so my name is Becca Hasse, and I have a 5th grader and a 3rd grader here at the school. And I was committee chair for our Labor Day book sale. And for all of our new parents, the Labor Day book sale is our biggest fundraiser of the year. By far. And it all happens before school starts. So through the month of August, we collect books from the Greenbelt community. We sort the books in the music room. Thank you so much, Ms. Morrison, for letting us use your music room. And we spend generally 2 to 3 hours, Monday through Friday, the whole month of August, sorting all the books, cataloging them, and then we move all the books from Ms. Morrison's classroom down to just outside the New Deal Cafe. So we rent a huge truck. We get lots of able-bodied people to help us lift all the boxes of books, and then we sell them. This year we made $11,770.78. So this involves many hours and many people who have volunteered their time, from people who just drive the truck, to people who spend time sorting, to people who just go and pick up boxes for us and drop them off. We use the money in order to pay for school field trips. The PTA usually buys all the agenda books that the older grades get in order to help keep track of their homework and their other assignments. And we use the money to help the teachers buy project items that aren't in the regular school supplies, so they can come to the PTA and say, hey, I want to do this project with my class. This is what I need. Can you help fund this? And most of the time we say yes. We've even used some of the money to help buy some computers or other office supplies and that type of things for the school. So this fundraiser is really great because the PTA can use the money for anything. It's not earmarked to go to one particular thing and then it can't be used for anything else. So in that respect, come next August, if anybody is interested, even just spending 2 hours to come and help would be great. You can hang out and chat with everybody as we're sorting books, or spend an evening working the book sale down at the Labor Day Festival and hanging out and enjoying the festival at the same time. This has been my 2nd year as the committee chair. And so I'm looking to pass the reins on to someone else. So if you're interested, please come see me, or you can talk to anybody else on the PTA. And other than that, thank you so much to everybody who spent long hours sorting books and hauling books in the rain this past Friday.
Is it possible to donate books anytime other than August, or is August the only time?
August is the only time.
Good question. And I will say, I just this weekend finished sending out all of the thank yous to the people who donated time for picking up books, sorting books, and selling books. And I think there were 137 people. So it's a huge amount of effort. And I will say, The majority of people are parents here, but it's also a community event, and we have people who live in Greenbelt who every single year volunteer at the Labor Day book fair. So or book sale, and so I think it's also a good community building event as well. And a lot of people hold on to their books all year long, keep them in a box, and then call us come August. So yeah, thank you again for your help, and we will be, eagerly looking. We actually want 2 people because it was Maya and Piri, and actually Piri's done it for like the last 7 years.
Or 3.
3 years.
I was on the meeting for 3 years.
Yeah.
That helps.
Yeah. So we do actually need two people who are willing to spearhead that this coming year, and Becca has graciously agreed to sort of like help get you up to speed, and the PTA helps as well. So, okay, thank you guys. Moving on to Walk to School Day, Erin. We have our first fun community event. October.
Mine needs to be nice and short,
Yeah.
so, I'll say, Sarah, it's very difficult as a past president to sit back there and be quiet. I want to like chime in on
That's
everything, but no, you're great. So October 10th, that's a Wednesday, next Wednesday, will be Walk to School Day. This is National Walk. It's really walk/bike to school day, but the fall one is really more walking, and then the spring one is more biking. But it really doesn't matter what your child uses. There will be 4 starting points for Walk to School Day. Hedgewood Drive and Lassner Lane for the neighborhoods over there will start at 8:30. Greenbelt Community Center lawn for sort of the Westway area, and that particular part of town, Lakeside, will be at 8:30 in the morning in the front lawn, kind of on the right-hand side of the building. Ridge and Garden Way near Spellman Overpass, for anybody that might live on that side of the bridge that wants to walk over and walk from there, will meet at 8:30. And then the last one meets at 8:45, and that is Plateau and Ridge. So that's sort of the closer in folks at Plateau and Ridge, the playground there. That's at 8:45. There is a parent leader at each of those locations, as well as we typically have a police officer that comes with us as well. And we sometimes will have teachers who will meet us there and walk along. I think it's either the Spellman Overpass or the Plateau one. Usually we get a couple of politicians who show up and decide to walk along so they can get some pictures.
Do you have the location of
So that would be the Spellman Overpass. That's that bridge that crosses the BW Parkway. So come over to the old Greenbelt side, and that's where everybody will meet, is right there. Yeah, come across the bridge and be right there.
I was just gonna add that anyone who's not within walking distance, I feel like could drive their car, you kind of park there,
Absolutely.
and then you get out and walk the rest of it.
Absolutely, 100%. And we've had that happen at the community center. Obviously, we know there's plenty of folks who take buses, and we don't necessarily need to disrupt that, but if they want to start at any of those locations, that's on the Greenbelt Elementary website, PTA website, with those locations. And it's just kind of a fun time to walk and bike along and get out and get active. There is not a return walk group, so you have to be ready for that. So they would be expecting to go home on the same buses or being picked up, or however they need to be brought home. And then there is, again, one in the spring that we will do that is technically more of a bike to school day. Okay, so that's all I've got on that. Yes, Rita.
I really like chalking the sidewalk. I don't know if
Oh, yeah.
but if other folks are interested, we have tons of chalk at our house, and I'd be happy to share it with anyone who'd like to. But we just draw things on the sidewalk like hop or walk or move, and I think it'd be beautiful to have something near our pollinator garden. And none of it's artistic. Like seriously, my children are excited by a line going down the sidewalk. So if anyone wants chalk, I have tons to give away.
And so there's if the community center group walks up the I don't remember what its official name is. It's sort of the Valley Trail that goes up behind Northway. They walk that route, and we've chalked that. The Plateau one is a little bit easier because it's kind of from Plateau and Ridge along the sidewalk to the school. Spellman Overpass, I think, is probably going to use those same sorts of sidewalks along there. So if you live anywhere in Old Greenbelt, or even if you don't, get out on those sidewalks and chalk them from any of those locations. And what my wife has done in the past is crazy things like jump the next 5 steps. And so the kids all get into jumping 5 steps and then now walk backwards 3 steps and, just kind of silliness along the way. So it kind of encourages them to come along. So yeah, thank you for reminding me that. I forgot about that. And I'll put that out on the e-list.
Yep, I was gonna say, and Aaron's already sent some information out on our listserv. He is our point of contact for this, so if you want to chalk, let him know, and, if you need a refresher for where the meetup points are, we'll be sending that out again for the 10th.
Thanks.
All right, moving on to Pete, who is our chair for Raphael's Race, which is our next biggest fundraiser coming up towards the end of October.
20, yeah.
20.
My name is Pete Pelargo. I have 2 children at the school, a 5th grader and a 1st grader. I am, for the 2nd year, the director for the Raphael's Race. So this is a 5K and a 1K fun run that we do. We're doing this in memory of Raphael Martins, who was a student here at Greenbelt Elementary School. He passed away in 2009. His father, Vanderlei, is at the back of the room. Vanderlei has been very helpful in helping us keep this going. So we do this event. What we're doing is we're raising money to get to the PTA to distribute to the classes for field trip activities primarily. This is something we do. Raphael really liked field trips, so this is kind of what we're doing. And a little bit of the money that we collect also we give to a place called Camp Sunshine, which helps children with the kinds of illnesses that Raphael had as well. So what we're doing, we have the race is on October 20th. That's Saturday morning. It's right here at the school. It's a 5K loop that goes around Buddy Park. There's a 1K fun run that's just kind of in the neighborhood right here. We are raising money by selling registrations for the race. And then also another big part of the fundraising activities for this too is we sell drawing tickets. $2 for a ticket, 6 for $10. And we use those to draw for prizes that have been donated to help the PTA raise the funds. So we have a number of different, both local restaurants, the Orioles are giving something, the Spy Museum. We're getting a variety of different things that have been donated that are the prizes that we're drawing for. So what I really need help with coming up in the next couple of weeks, I have a sign-up Genius thing set up that I'm going to make go live here after the PTA meeting, I think. We have opportunities to sell the drawing tickets and to help people register for the race in person. We had done it last year outside the school after school. Is that okay for us to continue to do that? So we have, so I'll send around a sign-up form for people to please volunteer to help out with that. But just for a few minutes after school, selling drawing tickets and helping people register. I've also arranged for us to use the ramp at the Greenbelt Co-op. I have a couple of evenings over the next couple of weeks, Wednesday evenings, the next couple of weeks, for us to also do that and get a wider kind of spread out into the rest of the community. And I've also arranged for us to have a weekend at the co-op that we have access to the facility there to just help get foot traffic come by, sell drawing tickets, registrations. It's really been helpful in the past to do that. And then finally, I have another sign up, which is going to be for volunteers to help out with the race day itself. We need people to be out on the course to help marshal the runners so they're going the right way and the wrong way, to help out here at the school with registration and signing people up for the race and selling tickets still. And then after the race to help with refreshments, many of which are being donated by some of the businesses and some of the people in our community. And Vanderlei, you made this really nice flyer. You have some of them here, so you can actually grab.
Have some flyers here and sign up forms if someone wants to sign.
And we'd like to send this home with the kids. What's the best way? Should we just bring a bunch in and give them to the office and just read? Okay, so I'll work out the Vanderlei that we'll get those and provide those. And I'm trying to think about what else.
Pete, do you have the dates for the Wednesday evenings?
The Wednesday evenings, I'm sorry, the Wednesday evenings are next Wednesday, the 10th and the 17th. So we have those 2 Wednesday evenings. And then the weekend of the 13th and 14th, Saturday, Sunday, we have the ramp there too.
And what are the times?
I made up times and put them on, so in the evenings, it's 5 to 9.
Okay.
And then the weekend, I just sort of said 10 to 4. And I'm looking for people to take a couple hour shift, do it in pairs, that work pretty well.
People have to be there to win, or we still raffle tickets?
No, you write your name and your phone number, contact on the tickets, so you don't have to be present to win. So yeah, so when you reach out to community members, they don't have to be a runner to win. If anybody else would like to help out with the race, you don't have to be a runner to help out with the race. I will welcome anybody's help. And that's what I have.
And kids can race too?
Kids can, absolutely. The fun run, the 1K fun run is absolutely geared for the kids. The more ambitious ones do the 5K. And tell your neighbors, friends, relatives.
And it's fun. Sometimes the teachers get a group together and run it. And I'm not a runner, but last year my son dressed up in his police uniform, including the whistle, and we took a stop to help direct the traffic. He took it very seriously. So there's a lot of opportunities to be involved if you are not a runner. But if you have family members or neighbors who are runners, encourage them to come up for this because you most always have to be a runner. I hope I didn't just joke.
And the registration information is also all on the PTA's website.
It's on the PTA's website, and we will start, once we get these links finalized, we'll start promoting it through our communication channels as well.
And one thing, there are many people who came without running or just, to support the event. We had many people come that way too. It's a fun day, It's a nice community event.
Yeah.
And Beverly always runs.
Sorry?
You always run.
I always run, so constantly.
Thank you, Pete.
Okay, thanks.
So, the money I know is usually distributed to the grade level, and I wanted to kind of ask, we've been trying to do this as a music department, to do some type of music field trip yearly. Last year, we were able to take 5th grade Ford's Theater to see The Wiz, which was great for like arts integration. They did the museum, they saw the musical, and 5th grade was so generous to share some of their money, but we do have a music trip account. There's really anything in it. But if, there are some opportunities at the Kennedy Center, and we don't really have like a budget, so if you want to give us a little cut of that, we would greatly support that. So that's something to think about.
Yeah, I think that's a great suggestion. I think if you wanted to like throw out some ideas, and we could talk about it at the next PTA meeting, and give that decision versus just sort of like a check.
Yeah, no, of course.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Great. All right, turning it over to Ingrid, who is our Arts and Communication Committee Chair.
Good evening. I'm Ingrid. I have a 3rd grader, and I also have a 7th grader who went through this school, but is now in the middle school. If you have any questions about the middle school, you can talk to me too. The first thing I want to talk about is the parade. So I've been organizing the parade for 7 years. The school usually has some sort of a theme. Usually has to do with books. This year it was Once Upon a Time. And we won again. It's time for first and best theme, I think, which means we got $200. Great, we had a good turnout. Since the date has been starting after Labor Day, we have less people participating. And that's been a little bit of a challenge, but we still had enough people to carry everything. And the teachers came and kind of created a little chant by the end of our run, and I think we came off looking really great this year. Lots of fun costumes. So thank you. I probably won't be doing this after I graduate from GES anymore. So next year will be my last year doing the parade, and if anyone wants to learn how to do it, it's really quite fun. And it kind of gives me an excuse not to carry too many books and do too much with the book sale. So if you like to paint and be, I did volunteer. But all that to say, it's really kind of fun, and I can give you lots of tips. I've learned a lot about how to make it not too much work. And when we have to do what, like register, that's what you have to do. Really great. Beautification Day happened last Saturday, Because of the rain we've been having, we had to postpone it, and I think we also had lower turnout than we've ever had. However, we still had about 25 people, 13 of which were children. But we all worked really hard. It was a gorgeous day, and as you can see out in the front, it looks really good. There's a few small jobs that didn't happen, and some parents that couldn't come have already asked me what they can do to help. So if you really want to get outside and just ask me, I can give you a job to do. It might be as simple as just weed around this tree or clip back some shrubbery that's on the sidewalk or something like that. But just if you're interested in gardening, talk to me. There's also an art project, which I'll get to in a minute. All right, I'm not going to jump ahead. So the family fund. There is a fund for which the PTA also gives money to that helps bring special projects to every grade, and they have to do now with arts integration and trying to help the teachers with their curriculum to make learning more exciting, more special, and I don't know what I'm trying to say, but we've been doing this for quite a while. It was started by Barbara Simon, who was a local artist who really worked for decades to bring artists into this school, or before this school existed, the community school. And she taught a lot of artists how to get grants to come in, and she really wanted community people that were committed to the school. Sorry. Anyway, so I am now taking over her job because she died a few years ago. So I might be here after I graduate from GES organizing this because I'm now the president of GABA, which is the nonprofit that she organized, which helps get grants for these special projects at the school. So this year, we're going to have many of the projects that we've been doing for years because we want to bring back the projects that the teachers like and hopefully have the same artists come in so that there's continuity, so the teachers know what to expect and the project can be improved upon or changed according to what the teacher needs. And we want it to be easy for the teacher and not extra work. So this year we're doing the Applicant project again, which is a really popular one for the kindergartners. And I won't give you all the details of the project. If you want to talk to me about details, you can ask me privately. But it has to do with a puppet show and learning songs about the tree, cycle of the tree. We also have a tree for all seasons in the hallway, which different grades participate in. So the first thing the kindergartners do is put apples on the tree. The first graders will do something for winter with snowflakes, and then the second graders put blossoms on the tree. We talk about pollination and bees and how the bees make the apples come. So hopefully by the time they've gone through the different grades, they feel somewhat attached to the tree and something. So the first graders get Butterfly Wonder, which is a puppet workshop and a puppet show. It helps with learn about metamorphosis, which they're studying at the time. The second grade, hopefully we'll have Angela Foster again. She's a wonderful dance teacher, and she's been working with the second grade for 2 years in a row. We've had some staff change, so I have to talk to the second grade teachers and make sure they're all on board. And I have to make sure she's on board and her assistant. So that's not settled yet, but we're hoping to get that to come again. The third grade has a pea planting project with /art journal. So there's an artist, Sarah Garcia now. Lucy Dirksen did it for many years, but now Sarah Garcia is doing it. And the third graders have art journals. For example, a parent in the third grade helps me make those. So if you want to do something at home, watching television late at night when your children are asleep, you could staple 120 art journals together. So these small things I need help with. So if you're interested in those kind of things, please talk to me. You don't even have to come to school. So the pea planting project happens in the courtyard, and the kids plant the peas in the classroom, but then they plant the plants after they've observed them and drawn them. They put them out in the courtyard, and hopefully they foster them and they create peas and etc. You get the idea. So they observe the plants from seed to fruit. The fourth grade, we're still not sure what we're doing with yet, but I'll let you know next meeting. And the fifth grade is doing an animation project again with George Michelle. It's a very popular project, and Lindsay Bullock has organized it in a great way, and I think it's going to be wonderful. In fact, I think it's starting in a few weeks. That's all. If you have any questions, I'm trying to be as brief as possible.
So I can almost guarantee if you guys haven't met Ingrid, and your kids have been here, they know Ingrid, because I feel like the things that she brings into the classroom are some of the kids' favorite things.
Thank you. Yeah, I really am passionate about the arts.
And the other passionate thing that Ingrid did last year is our new beautiful mural on the outside of That's a special, that was a big special thing, but I think, you know, the school does an amazing job with arts integration and we take it seriously. And as you heard, a lot of this is all volunteer. So you can volunteer at home for things. There's cutting, there's stapling, there's helping in the classroom. You know, planting the peas is, you know, a fun activity. So again, lots of ways to get involved. All right. Anil, turning it over to Anil for our treasurer's reports.
Yeah. Kind of like the guidelines. All right, so hi, my name is Anil Sandel. I'm treasurer for the PTA. This is my first time doing this job. So, not sure exactly what I would talk about, but got some dollar values here, so I will go for those and hopefully that is it. Okay. All right, so you all heard about the Greenbelt Labor Day book sale. That's our by far the largest fundraiser for the year. And as far as the overall funds, we started out the year as of July 1 with about $12,500. And right now we are over double that. That's $26,100 as of today. Apart from the book sale, the largest number in deposits I have is the PTA membership. And that's running up right now into $900 or so. So anyone who is not currently fully registered, paying member of the PTA, highly encouraged to complete that process. Every single dollar helps in all our activities through the year. That's all I have at the beginning of this year.
So I will say we can send out we approved the budget for the school year at the end of last school year. So we can make sure that you all have a link to that for those of you who are new to this. So you can kind of see what our budget looks like for this coming year. We base our budgeting on previous years and projections. And so far, I think we're doing okay because we, I think, exceeded our target for Labor Day book sale this year, which is great. I mean, I'm talking by like, you know, $1,000, not like tens of thousands of dollars, but you know, every little bit helps, and you get requests for the teachers for things like $100 here or sometimes $2,000 here. So again, every little bit helps so that we can meet the teachers.
Thank you.
All right. I actually forgot, there is one old business thing which I noticed on the notes, which is at the last meeting, we had gotten approval for up to $250 to work on the Square Reader, essentially electronic payments. We've never been able to offer that for PTA memberships or at the Labor Day book sale, and I just want to say a big thank you to Anil and Nick for getting that set up this year. It was an obscene amount of emails to try and get this set up through our GES PTA PayPal account. You would not believe. We had to contact presidents from like 3 cycles ago to get names changed. It was kind of crazy, but quite a few people used it at the Labor Day Festival. Quite a few people used it at Back to School night, and I think it'll be really useful moving forward. So that's an old business item that I think we can tick off, and we didn't spend even close to the $250.
I think we spent $60.
$60. Well done. Yes. All right. So moving on to new business, I have a few things, but I did want to introduce Don Rich, who is here talking about the ACE. He's the ACE liaison to Greenville Elementary School, and I will let you say what ACE is because I feel like I'm gonna watch it. Something Council on Education, Advisory Council on Education.
That's right.
Do you want to talk from here, or would you like to? Okay.
Well, good. Good evening. It's good to be here with y'all, and thanks for the invite. So, I'm just going to, and I won't be too long. I'm just going to give a quick review of the projects and activities for the year for ACE. And so I'll start off with probably the most important one, grants. So we're looking for, at the present time now, we're looking for grant requests for grants, proposals for up to $600 each for projects and activities that support education and instructional experiences of students in the school. And so, and also, new this year, we're starting grants of up to $400 each for teacher development. That is to support registration fees, tuition and/or required course materials for teachers to take classes, attend conferences, or participate in other professional development programs. So that's something else that we're starting up this year with the grants. And so that's starting off our year. And also, I'd like to make an announcement about a Board of Education candidate debate that we're sponsoring. This is for the District 2 candidates, two candidates for District 2 that represent us. This is Thursday, October 18th, the City Council chambers from 7:30 to 9. And so we invite you all to come out and meet Luby Grady and Joshua Thomas. And they will be presenting their philosophies and goals for the board. Yeah. This is a community event that we're sponsoring, and you're all invited to that. Just wanted to make that announcement.
I'm sorry, October 18th, the City Council chambers?
Yes, October 18th, yes.
6 to 8.
7:30 to 9.
7.
Yeah. Right. So, okay. Now, let me just grab this. This is a reminder for me about all the activities we have going on. So, and then our next meeting this month will be our annual meeting with PTA presidents. You got that invite, right? Yeah, right. So that's one of the important meetups, get-togethers we have with the schools this year. And so, let's see, and then in January, we have a meeting with the principals, all the principals. We get together with all the principals and have a chat. Yeah. And then we have educator awards. We get a couple of awards to educators at each school for their work and outstanding support for the schools. And then the last important meeting that we have is the ACE Student Awards. Those awards are to provide recognition for, outstanding work by the students in each school. So, that's it.
The student and educator awards, the teachers nominate students, right?
Yeah.
And parents and staff nominate teachers for those awards, correct?
Yes.
And is that that's usually in the spring, if I'm not mistaken?
Yeah, that's in the spring. Those awards are in the spring.
Thank you for coming.
All right.
You're always welcome.
And just a quick clarifying question, like, are these grants that, like, let's say someone is interested in applying for one of these grants, whether it be a teacher, whether it be a parent to do something in the school, has the application process passed for this academic year? Or is there, or am I not?
No, we just started the application process.
Okay, so that's
Yeah.
good to
So
know.
those applications are available online. Yeah.
Okay, I just wanted to accentuate that for teachers too, since
All right,
that's.
so
a
actually,
new-
that's on our agenda
Yeah.
for our staff meeting in the morning, the ACE grant, so we are there. I do have to leave, I'm a volleyball mom, so I gotta pick up my daughter from volleyball. But Mr. Richardson and Ms. Morrison, they'll answer all your questions. If you do need me, you can always email me, and I'm always here in the morning. Thank you all.
Thank you. You can't do too many questions, we only have 5 minutes left. All right, thank you very much for joining us. And I think maybe we can also kind of keep this on our PTA radar to think about teacher nominations and also if there are grants that the PTA wants to vote for. I'm thinking some of these topics that were brought up earlier in the meeting are maybe things that we could talk about next month. So just 2 other things that I had wanted to bring up. I think Becca had mentioned this, but we do need 2 co-chairs for the Labor Day Festival. And even though this doesn't really happen until August, we want to try and figure out who those people are going to be so that we can start having conversations and transitioning those things over. Both Ingrid and Becca and Piri have a pretty tough job kind of mobilizing a lot of people before school starts. And so I think the more we can do to kind of get people on board to start shadowing some of those things, the easier it will be. And then the other opportunity, which is super fun, and you'll be working with a totally dynamo organizer, is Amy Diesel is our Spring Fair co-chair. And actually, she's the Spring Fair chair, and she needs a co-chair this year. And so that usually is in April-ish. And it's a super fun community event. She has it kind of down to a science, but similar, you're kind of hearing that theme. A lot of people have been doing these things for a lot of years, so we need some new blood on these activities. So if you're interested in working, she's going to do it this year, but we want to kind of get her a co-chair to ideally transition that for next year. So Spring Fair also could use some help. So I'll keep dropping these things at coaches and meetings, and if you are interested, let me or any of the other PTA members know. Are there any other things? We have 3 minutes.
I'm looking for someone to help me, actually, Lauren asked me to write down.
Do you go up front?
I'm looking for someone to help me. I was supposed to write down how to do box tops, which is very not complicated, but I never actually wrote it down. You cut them out, we mail them in. But we collect box tops through our teachers at school. Children can bring them to school. We have a box that's up front, and we're doing one rally cry before October 10th. So on Bike to School Day, you can send box tops in with your children. We do 1 mailing in the fall and then 1 or 2 mailings in the spring. And each year it's raised like $400 to $600 for our school, and the principal can use it. It's free money, essentially. There's also an online box top area you can do, but if anyone has interest in taking home projects to cut out box tops or collate them, and or just knows, last year we did, someone had suggested checking out with all the old people who live in Greenbelt who probably don't know kids necessarily to get box tops to, but like be willing to collect them. So if you know any old people, don't do it yourself, look at other, it's something that just asking people, often they're looking for a place to take their box tops, and it's something, I think we've raised 8,000 or 10,000 over the life of the program. And you're a volunteer.
I'm not a volunteer.
Oh, no, you're
Can you, is there any way we can get a list, because box tops off on everything, not
Yes.
just food.
Yes.
On like the aluminum foil cans.
Right.
Everything that.
Sure.
Yeah, it's a list on them.
Yeah, but I'll send out, we can do that and give it to the teachers too, so a list to add to their newsletters of what box tops are on. Yeah. Yeah?
Thank you.
What's your name?
Vicky.
Okay.
Thanks. Thank you. All right, our next PTA meeting, like I had said, normally they're on the first Tuesdays of the month, except this coming November, it's going to be on the 13th. It's going to be here from 7:30 to 8:30. However, prior to the meeting, do you want to
Yes, we're going to share. We're having something new this year. We're very excited about it. We're having a family folk dance night. So I have been working very diligently with my students in the music classroom to learn all these different dances. We have line dances and circle dances and partner dances, and there is no dancing experience required. I'm a much better singer than I am dancer, I promise. And if your kindergartner can do it, you can do it too. So prior to the PTA meeting, you said it's going to start at 7:30, so we would start at 6:30.
You will start at 7.
Oh, so we'll start at 6, in an hour.
Yeah.
But you can come out, bring your relatives, your friends, your family. I'm going to put up some posters in the community, but it really is for everyone just to meet, mingle, dance together. We're also looking to take our chorus to the festival this year. So we're kind of raising money for a bus, so there'll be a little bake sale, snack sale, if you want to donate anything, you want to bring your spare change, but it's just going to be a really fun event, and there will be a flyer that goes out in your students' grade level coming soon, but we're very excited.
It should be super fun. And kind of to add to that, the last thing I had wanted to say is we do, as a PTA, we provide babysitting for the kids, and I think we did not talk about this, but I'm wondering if maybe next month we should maybe try to get more than 2 babysitters, so that if people want to come to this and you bring your children, then they can still stay here for the babysitting while you guys come to the meeting. So we can work on that to help facilitate that, so we don't lose people.
Is that November 13th?
November 13th, yeah. All right. I think that's it, guys. Does anyone have any last minute things? Thank you all so much for coming out. I hope to see you all next month at the same time, or almost same time, make that channel. Also, if there are people that you know who can't come here but can join online, please push out the link. We will try and set this up each meeting to try and increase participation and the voices that are being heard. Yeah, actually, that's a good question.
They're on the list, yes, ma'am. They asked for that, so they're all written down.
All right, thank you, everyone. Have a good evening.
I'll see you all later.